और कुछ है यहाँ पे
I
करने
think that's it, right?
कुछ बहाना बना के करना है। See, यहाँ पे कहाँ कर देना यहाँ पे और थोड़ा सा edit
Hmm. Make it more specific.
हाँ edit करके कहाँ लिंक्स पूरे कहाँ पे
आप पूरा रह गया तो हाँ कभी शादी पर क्या सुबह में इतना पढ़ा रह गया तराई
ये लोग कर रहे थे ना हाफिज भाई
आपका पढ़ा रह गया
घर पे थोड़ा
फ्लोर नीचे लेडीज ऊपर हाँ
अपना अपन पढ़
अच्छा है भाई
चलो I think corrected keyboard
Very well, it's our to be giving ourselves for our discussion to go forward and follow. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمد كثير طيبا مباركا فيه مباركا عليه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى جل جلاله وعز نواته والصلاه والسلام على سيد الحبيب المصطفى وعلى اله واصحابه من بعد هذه الشفاعه الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولبثوا في كهفهم 3 سنين وازدادوا تسعة قل الله أعلم بما لبثوا له غيب السماوات والأرض أصدق به وأحسن ما لهم من دونه من ولي ولا يشرك في حكمه أحدا صدق الله العلي العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا. Alhamdulillah, in the previous session, we were able to discuss and we discussed the ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that anything which one plans to do in the future should also always be mixed with or should also always include the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is the divine will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which allows this factory of a world, which allows us to breathe the air that we breathe, which allows us to walk on the earth that we walk on, to do whatever we do on this earth, or to do whatever we do within our own home. It is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which allows us to do so. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also He mentioned the ayat in which He describes more about what took place with the people of the cave and the amount of time that the people of the cave remained in the cave asleep. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He tells us, فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَىٰ آذَانِهِمْ فِي الْكَهْفِ سِنِينَ عَدَدًا, that we had put a veil or we sealed their ears off in the الْكَهْفِ سِنِينَ عَدَدًا, within the cave for a certain period of time or for a number of years. That was in the previous ayah. But now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us the exact amount of time that the people of the cave remain within the cave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَبِثُوا فِي كَهْفِهِمْ ثَلَاثَمِائَةٍ سِنِينَ وَازْدَادُوا تِسْعًا. And they, in reference to the people of the cave, remained within the cave ثَلَاثَمِائَةٍ سِنِينَ وَازْدَادُوا تِسْعًا. They remained within the cave for 309 years. They remained within the cave for 309 years. Now, subhanAllah, even the wording that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses to describe their stay in that cave is very unique. When we look at this ayah, there may be a couple of questions that arise. The first question that may arise is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way He describes the period of time that they remain within the faith is very unique. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not clearly say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not say that they remain within the cave for 309 years. Rather, He says, وَلَبِثُوا فِي كَهْفِهِمْ ثَلَاثَمِائَةٍ سِنِينَ. They remained in the cave for 300 years. وَازْدَادُوا تِسْعًا. And they added on, or there were 9 more years added on. So there's a question that arises that why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose to split 309 as opposed to saying 309 together? So the answer to this is that the Jews and the Christians of the time, the calendar that they followed was the solar calendar. The calendar that they followed was the solar calendar. And the solar calendar was such that it equaled up to 309 years. But the lunar calendars which the Muslims follow are such which it equals up to 300 years, but every single 100 years there were 3 years added on. Just like in the month of Ramadan, if you take that as an example, approximately every single year Ramadan goes back 10 days. Approximately every single year Ramadan goes back 10 days. And my father was explaining to me once that for a person to experience Ramadan, take an entire cycle, it takes about 30 years. So for a person to experience Ramadan within each and every single season, it takes 30 years. Now, not all of us have got this, no, but majority of us have, some of us have, I personally have not, but some of us have, some of us have not. So for a person to have the shortest fast in the year, you'll see it in winter. For a person to have the longest fast in the year, you'll see it in the summer. But for a person to have the medium amount of time in a fast, you'll see it in spring. Right? So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained it in such a way that they remained in the cave for 300 plus 9 more years. Because this was a difference between the calendars, and this was the calendar that the Jews and the Christians of the time would follow. That is one thing. The second question that may arise is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that they remained in the cave for 309 years. Remained in the cave for 309 years. But immediately after mentioning the period of time they remained within the cave, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala follows it up by saying, قُلِ اللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا لَبِثُوا. قُلِ اللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا لَبِثُوا. That saying, and once again the addressee is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, say, O Muhammad, Allah knows best about the amount of time that they remained in the cave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after saying the amount of time, He also mentions that Allah has infinite knowledge. Allah knows best the period of time that they remained in the cave. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the amount of time they're staying in the cave, what was the use of mentioning that Allah already knows that how long they stay? Right? Everyone understand, right? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention the time, but then He included Allah knows best? Right? So the scholars they answer that the number that was mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it because there was a lot of difference amongst the people as to how long they were thinking. And no matter what opinion they took at the time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it, that this is the amount of time that they stayed, but also remember that this is from the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you know that how long they stayed. This is from the infinite wisdom and knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are aware of the time that they stayed. And furthermore, their stay within the cave was such an event which was very miraculous. Right? The term which is used to define the miracles is mu'jiza. And if you were to actually look up the word mu'jiza, it is derived from the word ish, which means for a person to be completely obsolete. You know, for example, a person who reaches old age, we call him what? An ajuz. An ajuz is a person who has become senile. He's become older in age. Right? And a person who is himself is known as an ajuz. But a person who makes another person senile, a person who makes another person lose, is known as a mu'jiz. But now, what are miracles? They are known as mu'jizat. Meaning what? That mu'jiza are a thing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or an ability given to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that completely go against the mother of nature, completely go against reality itself. Right? If we look, in reality, is it possible for a person to switch a leaf? Just by the tap of his tap. In reality, is it possible for a person to just point at the moon and the moon completely sit down the middle? In reality, is it possible for a person to just drop his staff on the ground and that staff does not become a fake serpent, or does not become a fake animal, rather it becomes a real serpent, a real snake, and it goes and devours the fake snake or the fake serpent or animal? Is this reality? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is exactly, these are known as mu'jizat. Miracles of the Prophet ﷺ, or miracles which have been given to certain people by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has infinite power, is omnipotent. Even if reality is in one way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can flip it on his backside and make it completely different. And this is exactly why their entire duration of their stay within the cave was an entire miraculous event. When we look at the ayah, وَتَرَى الشَّمْسَ إِذَا طَلَعَتْ تَزَاوَرُ عَنْ شَمْسِهِمْ ذَاتِ الْيَمِينِ وَإِذَا غَرَبَتْ شَمْسُهُمْ ذَاتِ الشِّمَالِ وَهُمْ فِي فَجْرٍ مِّنْهُ. Now when they were positioned, the way that they were positioned in the cave was that they were in an open part of the cave. And it was such that when the sun would rise, the sunlight would have indefinitely hit them. The sunlight would have, definitely hit them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it such that the sunlight would block them. And when the sun would come time for it to set, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it such that the sunlight would block them. Meaning them, keeping them completely safe from the sunlight. So this entire event which took place with these people was such that it was a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there is no being or there is no person who loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all of this, and there is no one who is worthy of worship except Him. وَلَا يُشْرِكُ فِي حُكْمِهِ أَحَدًا. There is no person who is an equal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His kingdom. The only being capable of doing such incredible and magnificent events and making them happen is Allah and Allah alone. Even the miracles performed at the hands of the Anbiya were such that they could not perform themselves. The only being who allowed certain events to take place within their lives was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we move on to the next ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتْلُ مَا أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ مِنْ كِتَابِ رَبِّكَ, and recite what has been revealed to you of the book from your Lord. لا مبدل لكلماته. There is none that can change his words. ولا تجد من دونه ملتحدا. And his word you will never find, and his word, and you will never find a refuge beside him. واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عيناك عنهم تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا. And keep yourself content with those who call their Lord morning and evening, and seeking His pleasure. And let not your eyes overlook them, seeking the splendor of this worldly life, of the worldly life, and do not obey the one whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, and who has followed his desires and whose behavior has exceeded the limit. SubhanAllah, this exact ayah is such an event, or is such a lesson for us all, that Rasulullah is being reminded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him, وَاسْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ. And not only this ayah, also the ayah in the sentences Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُم بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not in one place, which is this one, however, in two places, which is the second of Surah Al-Alaq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains that do not leave the people who will remember Allah morning and evening. Now, there's a little bit of a backstory to this ayah. There was a certain group of people from amongst the Quraysh. There was a Quraysh elite, the people who were the chiefs of Quraysh. They approached Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is actually narrated on the authority of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu by Ibn Marduwayh rahimahullah. And he said that Umayyah bin Khalaf al-Jumahi advised the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he should not be associating himself and sitting with the poor people of Quraysh. Umayyah bin Khalaf al-Jumahi, who was one of the chief saints of Quraysh, he advised Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that, look, what you should do is disassociate yourself with these poor people, with these transient people, and you know what you should do? If you want to have them with you and you want to host them in your gathering, then do it at such a time in which we're not here and they're there, or the opposite, that they are here and we're not here. Meaning what? They wanted to have completely separate gatherings. One for the rich, one for the poor. They wanted to have completely separate gatherings, one for the rich and one for the poor. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and letting him know that the people's financial status, whether they be rich, whether they be poor, whether they be wealthy or transient, it does not matter. Only those people who truly seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be with you. Only those who truly want to seek the pleasure of Allah, who truly want your company, not with an ulterior motive, not with an ulterior agenda. They don't want to be with you for some political gain. They don't want to be with you because they're wealthy and rich. Rather, they want to be with you because they want to be with you as my Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they want to be with you for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was a divine instruction from Allah to remind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that do not pay heed or do not give importance to this person's advice. Do not give importance to Umayyah's advice, because the people who are with you are the ones who are the true beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this teaches us one very important lesson, that when giving da'wah, when calling people to Islam, when talking to people about Islam, there's no discrimination. When talking to people about Islam, when explaining to them that just because he's not from our community, or just because he's not from our ethnicity, that does not mean that Islam is so powerful. SubhanAllah, yesterday, I was speaking with a couple of brothers, and they had a client with them whom they were transporting, and the lady that was sitting with them and speaking with them, she said that, since white people, like since Caucasian people become Muslims. She said that since white people or Caucasian people become Muslims, right? And the reason and the conversation that we had was so unique, it was so interesting, because this mentality and this ideology is something which is so deeply rooted within them that they feel as if Islam only belongs to either the Arabs or the brown people. Islam only belongs to a certain race or a certain group of people, and it does not belong to anyone else besides them. If we look even within the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was so much diversity. Bilal radiallahu anhu, he was a Prophet. Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu, he was Persian. Abdullah bin Mubarak radiallahu anhu, who was he? He was Jewish. Right? All of these Sahaba radiallahu anhu, who themselves were not Arab, but rather from a completely diversified caste, completely different denomination, they were with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and as a matter of fact, they are the ones who are promised Jannah by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, this idea, and subhanAllah, this actually segues into another point that we were discussing in our conversation, that the reason that it's so deeply rooted within them is because their faith tells us that. When we had this open house, the previous open house that we had, there was a person who approached us to invite us to their own open house. After ours was completed, alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of them actually approached us, protected me, that we would like that you also attend our open house. And the way it was portrayed, subhanAllah, will be completely shocked. The way it was portrayed is that we are having this open house, and only on this one day, on this one weekend, will our facility be open to the public. Only on this one weekend, on this specific date, will our facility be open to the public. Otherwise, after this day, it will be completely closed, and it will be only allowed to the people who are of our denomination. Meaning that the Presbyterians cannot go to the evangelicals. The evangelicals can never go to Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses can never go to the Latter-day Saints. And the list. Right? So, one misconception is the reason that this is so deeply rooted within them is because this is of their own faith. This is of their own ideology. But Islam says no to all of that. Islam says no to racism. Islam says no to sectarianism. Islam says no to nationalism. Rather, when a person gives da'wah, and this is a lesson for us all, when a person gives da'wah, it could be to anyone of any faith, of any category, any ethnicity. It could be the person who is living in any part of the world. Islam is a universal being. Islam is a universal way of life. So this advice given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reminding Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that there is no discrimination, whether it be with ethnicity or whether it be with something of financial status or financial status. Then we move on to the next ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقُلِ الْحَقُّ بِرَبِّكُمْ وَقُلِ الْحَقُّ بِرَبِّكُمْ. And say, once again, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reading that, and say the truth is from Allah, from the Lord. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. That whoever so wills may believe and whoever so wills may deny. إِنَّا أَعْتَدْنَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ نَارًا أَحَاطَ بِهِمْ سُرَادِقُهَا. But surely we have prepared for the unjust a fire whose tent will envelop them. وَإِنْ يُغِيثُوا يُغَاثُوا بِمَاءٍ كَالْمُهْلِ. And when they will ask for help, when they will request help, the things that they will be helped with will be some oily dregs down their face. And what a vile drink it is, and the evil is within the fire and the resting place. And what an evil place of fire is as the resting place. This is another place in the Quran saying, Surah A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually tells us and illustrates to us about a scene which will take between the people of Jannah and the people of Jannah. And this is around the fourth side, as per the 15th part of Quran, 15th line of Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ أَصْحَابِ الْجَنَّةِ أَنْ أَفِيضُوا عَلَيْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ أَوْ مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to them that the people of the hellfire will look up to the people of Jannah and say, please just pour down some water. That's all we want. We don't want any of your, wealth. We don't want any of the bounties that are being given to you up there. We don't want anything. Just pour some water down for us. Right? That's all they will want. But then the people of Jannah will reply, only my Lord Allah. قالوا إن الله حرمنا على الكافرين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will be said to them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it haram, forbidden for the people who disbelieve him. Then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about furthermore, وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ, the people of Jannah will call upon the people of the hellfire. The opposite. The answer has been given to the people of the hellfire that you're asking for something that you will never ever receive. You're asking for something that you're never going to get. There's no point in asking. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also talks about the opposite. Vice versa. The people of Jannah will call on the people of hellfire. وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ أَنْ قَدْ وَجَدْنَا مَا وَعَدَنَا رَبُّنَا حَقًّا وَقَدْ وَجَدْنَا مَا وَعَدَ رَبُّنَا. The people of Jannah will call on the people of the hellfire and say that you do not find the promise of Allah. You do not find the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be true. Weren't you warned? Didn't you know? What was the answer? Hardly none. Hardly none. You have nothing else to say but yes. Whatever was told to us, whatever we were warned about, whatever we were advised about, we didn't take it to it, we didn't speak for him, or not there to it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will appoint a person to announce that on that day, a person, or at that time, a person will announce, an announcer will announce that curse be upon the people who accepted him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is once again explaining for us what will be the outcome and the resting place of the people who disobey him and follow him. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning that, He also tells us to do something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ إِنَّا لَا نُضِيعُ أَجْرَ مَنْ أَحْسَنَ عَمَلًا. Verily those people who believe in Allah and do good deeds, verily we will not waste their good deeds. We will not waste what good they've done. And what will they receive in lieu of doing these good deeds and having iman? أولئك لهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتهم الأنهار يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ويلبسون ثيابا خضرا من سندس ويستبرق المتكئين فيها على الأرائك نعم الثواب وحسنت مرتفقا. Those are the people for whom there are eternal gardens. The rivers that flow beneath them, they will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold, and they will be dressed in green garments made of fine silk and thick silk. Reclining therein on couches, excellent is the resting place, excellent is the reward, and beautiful is the garden as a resting place. Now, inshallah, we'll end off with this one question that may arise in this ayah. There may be a question when reading this ayah that may arise that the ornament of Jannah, not in specific with women, rather in specific with men, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying they are such that they will be made to wear bracelets of gold. يُحَلَّوْنَ فِيهَا مِنْ أَسَاوِرَ مِنْ ذَهَبٍ, that they will be made to wear bracelets of gold. But now, the question that arises is, in our worldly perspective, from the dunyawi perspective, there are certain ornaments or certain fashion styles or trends which not every single place follows. For example, in certain countries, for example, if you go to Mexico, they dress a certain way there. If we go back home to our native country, they dress a certain way there. Right? So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the ornaments and the dress wear of Jannah will be universal. That everyone, from even the men, they will be made to wear gold ornaments. They will be made to wear gold ornaments. They will be given gold ornaments or bracelets to wear. So, when in a certain place, if a person goes to like for example, in our example, Mexico, and he goes with a probe or he goes with a, kufi and imama, in their culture or in their standards, this may look very unique or very interesting to them. They're not accustomed to this, they're not used to this. So this may stand out to them. Some may think of it as very beautiful, something very, amazing to look at. But other people may look at it with weird fear, thinking that Allah, what is wearing, like wearing that dress. So likewise, the reality of Jannah is such where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the people and the ornaments of Jannah are such which will be accustomed to Jannah itself. The ornaments and the dresswear and the getup in Jannah will be such that though it may sound very different to us now, but when a person reaches there, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us there to the highest level of paradise, there when a person reaches, he will be made to wear these things which will be customary, which will be unique with Jannah alone. Right? And the reality and the place of Jannah and the realm of Jannah is such in which even for men it will look normal for them to be wearing golden bracelets. Even for men, it will look normal for them to be wearing golden bracelets, as opposed to the dunya. We all know for men in specific, not with women, it is haram for them to wear anything of gold. Right? But in Jannah, in the realm of Jannah, this will be completely fine to be actually a thing of honor, a status of honor that will be given to the people of Jannah. So after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given all the ability to love and gain a very beautiful connection with the Quran. That's exactly what this entire series is titled about. If you notice that, whenever we send up the flyers, it's not listed as, we're doing Surah. We're not doing Surah XYZ. Rather, we're doing a session on connection with the Quran. And this is all this really is. It is all a means for us to connect with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is all a means for us to this is all a means for us to truly understand and truly internalize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just one point I'd like to go back to Surah we discussed about why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the year, the time period, and then also after we mentioned the infinite knowledge of Allah. And the question of what could come up, that why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned years, but then also add his knowledge in between. Add Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, Allah knows that if they stay for 300 plus years. So just a addition I'd like to make is that this is something which is unique with the Quran. And this is also teaching us one very important lesson, that no matter how much anyone tries to dig in, or no matter how much a person tries to find out about, it ultimately the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come out of it. And it is virtually useless to actually dive into this, because though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear for us, but one should always remember that even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has completely painted the entire picture for us, it is truly His knowledge which is completely above all. It's truly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge which comes above anything and everything else. And then once again, going back to the main point of, the people in the previous ayat had already been warned, right? That fighting about the numbers of how many people there were within the cave, fighting about the number of years that they were within the cave, is completely useless, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is the one who is the one who knows the number and the number of years, the number of people and the number of years who were within the cave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to connect with the book. Allah is